everybody, this is Isaiah and I'm back with another video on a particularly pertinent topic, something that's been on my mind, not just recently, but for many years now. You know, as I've gotten older, as I've matured, since I've been an adult, I guess, and even before that. I want to talk about, today I would like to talk about judgment. Tell you about some particular instances when I've been judged, perhaps wrongly in my viewpoint, and times when I've judged other people, and how it has affected my relationships, how it is really destructive, and I think where judgment comes from. So judgment often comes from insecure people, fake people. Judgment is just, or I guess like, not all judgment, because I mean, I don't consider myself to be fake or insecure. I guess to some degrees I probably am insecure. I'm sure there are levels of insecurity that I might have. Of course, I think it's natural, it's human nature. Perhaps. I don't know if all people are insecure. I think people who really have the courage to be themselves no matter what, like the punk rock and goth people that I went to high school with, or people that I've met and encountered throughout my life, people who don't really fit into people who don't really want to fit into a certain archetype of person are, I think, in my opinion, less insecure. Those are the least insecure people. But I think to some level I may be insecure myself, but I try to be accepting. I try to be unconditionally loving of people because that's what I want in return. And I've always been under the impression and belief that if you want what you want from people, you have to give out yourself. You can't be willing to receive what you don't give. So in my experiences, I try to be very accepting. I try to be very patient. I try to be very kind to people because that's just the way to do it. That's just the best way to go about it, in my opinion. Sorry, I'm looking at some notes I wrote down for this video, so excuse me. People who also lack originality. When you're not original, and when you're always looking for a leader, and people who are in large crowds, follow the crowd, those tend to be the most judgmental kinds of people. Like, if you're always around somebody else, and you're like always trying to so in the past, I've been judged, particularly when social media was kind of or I guess Facebook was kind of a big thing. Right after high school, I graduated from high school in 2007. After high school, you know, during that time, Facebook became a really big thing. It was a way for people to kind of make inferences about people's status based on how many friends they have or followers or whatever, right? So after high school, I was judged. I was judged by people who I considered to be good friends of mine on how many friends I had on Facebook. I think today, people would look at that rather distastefully, but that's how it was back then. And I can look back now and say, okay, those people were probably very insecure within themselves to be judging me based on how many friends I had on Facebook. I remember one time I had about 45 friends on Facebook, and it stagnated there for quite a while. because I had deleted my Facebook at one point, and I restarted it back in like 2015, and I only had like 45 friends. While so many people who had stayed on Facebook since high school, mind you, I graduated in 2007, now had hundreds or thousands of friends on Facebook, right? Just so they can look cooler. But they're not your friends. They're not really your friends. They're just people who might have added you because it's a popularity contest. So I think that's one way that I was judged, and I departed from a lot of the friendships or people who I considered to be my friends during that time. Which hurt a lot. But you know what? As I've gotten older, I've come to realize those weren't my friends. Those were just people who didn't have, those weren't really my friends. A real friend doesn't do things like that. They're not going to judge you based on how many friends you have on Facebook. That's just your insecurities speaking. That's not what loyalty is, right? So that's one example that I can recall from my own life. So for many years, mostly due to judgments from others and things like that, it kind of influenced me in ways that were negative. I spent a lot of time alone. I lost a lot of friends. There are even family members who, still to this day, are very distant due to judgment, false judgments, and insecurities that people have pushed onto me, people have placed onto me. So, and that's another way that judgment can be very harmful. I think the cure to this, something that we have to start doing, is start learning to really get to know somebody instead of judging somebody based on their profile or social media. People are complex creatures, man, and we have to learn how to take the time to figure people out. Take the time to really get to know somebody. There's a really interesting story about a black man who had befriended a member of the Ku Klux Klan. I'm sure many people have heard of this already. It's all over YouTube and Vice, the Vice channel, I believe. But there's this black man, rather big dude, and he befriended the member of the Ku Klux Klan. And you know, it was just an awesome story of, instead of judging somebody, it's an awesome example of, instead of judging somebody, I'm going to take the time to get to know this person. We're not necessarily going to be friends, but I'm going to take the time to get to know this person and give them the benefit of the doubt. Give somebody the benefit of the doubt about how you think they might be, or the kind of person you think they might be based on how many friends they have on social media, or followers, or what somebody may be gossiping to you about them. Give somebody the benefit of the doubt. And I think it's important to understand that in time, people grow, people change over time. Even if you do find that this person is despicable, man, I think holding on to bitterness and resentment and judgment can be very damaging to both people. So I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And judgments from other people, including family members and friends who I have no contact with to this day, I found it to be very harmful and very sad. But hey, I guess that's life, right? Another thing I wanted to talk about is to stop. I mean, it's to some degree it's important to judge people based on their social media information, the information they put out, because that's part of who they are, right? But like I said, it's a lazy way to go about it, because people aren't completely who they are on social media. It's an enhancement of themselves because of social media. Everybody's looking at it. It's not completely who they are. It's just an enhancement. So when I mentioned that I was judged based on the amount of Facebook friends I had, uh, which I found to be, which I eventually grew and found to be completely irrelevant, I can say that that's not relevant information. Judging somebody based on their social media profile isn't completely who they are. It's part of who they are, but people, like I said, are complex creatures. We have these big, complex brains in our heads that hold trillions of neural networks. There's more neurons and neural networks in your brain than there are galaxies in the entire universe. Ask Neil deGrasse Tyson. Look it up. So, get to know somebody. Take the time to get to know somebody instead of casting judgment and passing judgment on somebody that you barely even know. All that's going to do is just close doors and lead to resentment and all these sorts of things. Take time to really get to know somebody and not just saying, hey, what's up? That's not how you make a friend. Don't just say, hey, what's up? There's this guy at work. He just says, hey, what's up? And he expects me to say something back to him, but I need a deeper connection than an occasional, hey, what's up? That don't mean nothing. Just a passing, hey, what's up? That don't mean that he's your friend. That don't mean nothing at all. Take the time to really sit down with somebody, start up a real conversation, have a real conversation, guys, with somebody. Get to know somebody, man. That's how you end racism. Take the time to get to know people. Okay? Maybe you find that, okay, well, maybe I'm right about this person and my assumptions are right, or maybe I'm wrong about that. But take the time to get to know people and see things through their eyes, and that's how you can stop judgment. Ask questions. It's very simple. All this is very simple, common sense advice on judgment, but I'm going to just say it because it doesn't seem that simple to everybody. And that's really all I have to say about that. So hope you guys can take something from what I said, learn from it, and I hope you guys apply it in your own lives. And thanks for watching. Isaiah out.